War, a principle that has existed since the dawn of humanity. One war, which is responsible for the second largest genocide in human history, ripped apart Yugoslavia and divided three ethnic groups. This war affected millions of people and almost resulted in the collapse of Eastern Europe. Yet many do not even know of its existence. The Bosnian War was a war truly forgotten. In order to better understand the Bosnian Wars, we have to start from the beginning, before the formation of Yugoslavia. From the 1400s to the late 1800s, the Ottoman Empire controlled the Mediterranean states, but after the Balkan Wars of 1912 through 1913, the Ottoman Empire broke apart and left these states in disarray. Soon thereafter, a new ruling party established order in the Balkan region. The new kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes was formed and would rule for many years, until the breakout of World War II, when this state was captured by German forces. This territory in the east served as a control point throughout Eastern Europe and gave the Nazis access to the Mediterranean. Fed up with the atrocious conditions and inhumane ways of the Nazis, a man by the name of Josip Broz Tito founded a movement to liberate the state under the name of Yugoslavia. Tito and his communist-led partisans successfully liberated Yugoslavia, which in 1995, the new Prime Minister Tito founded the Federal People's Communist Republic of Yugoslavia, which was composed of the six republics of Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, Serbia, Montenegro, and Macedonia. Prime Minister Tito ruled Yugoslavia with an iron fist, notorious for using military force against those who publicly opposed him. Despite this, he was regarded as a war hero in Yugoslavia and used this reputation to build up Yugoslavia from the ashes. Sadly, though, on May 4, 1980, Tito passed away, resulting in an immediate destabilization of the government. Tito's death weakened the government at a critical time, as the economy was at an all-time low. The weakened government, combined with an already struggling economy, resulted in a full economic collapse. From the time of Tito's death, the GDP and market capitalization plummeted, and even hasn't fully recovered since. The period of instability lasted throughout the 1980s until on December 23, 1990, Slovenia declared independence from Yugoslavia. Slovenia's separation from Yugoslavia empowered other republics to withdraw, and began what many historians refer to as the fall of Yugoslavia. With the recent victory in Slovenia, many of the republics began voting for independence, as Montenegro, Macedonia, and Croatia soon followed. These republics peacefully left Yugoslavia, until on February 29, 1992, Bosnian leaders started the legislation in order to withdraw from Yugoslavia. The Bosnia was unlike any of the other regions. It was extremely diverse, comprised of the three main groups with completely different cultures and religions. Bosnia was comprised of Bosniaks, which were natural-born citizens, Croats, which came from neighboring Croatia, and Serbs, who were from neighboring Serbia. Not to mention, during the time of the vote, each of these groups strived for different goals. The Serbian movement wanted to unite their people from around Bosnia and join neighboring Serbia, creating a full Serbian republic. The Croat movement in Bosnia wanted the Croat majority province of Herzegovina to join neighboring Croatia, while the Bosniaks wanted to ensure independence as they were the majority group in Bosnia. Each of these three groups represented different religions as well. The Serbians were predominantly Christian Orthodox, as the Bosniaks were Muslim, and the Croats were Catholic. This made Bosnia the center of conflict in the region, and with this many groups and interests all wanting different goals, it was no surprise that the shallow peace in Bosnia wouldn't hold. The words soon came true, as on April 6, 1992, war broke out in Bosnia, and began the Bosnian War. The first months of the war were painful and treacherous for many living in Bosnia. People like Zlata Flipovic, an author who wrote about her experiences during the war as a young girl.
We didn't really believe that it would last as long as it did, or that it would be as serious as it was, because I think people always think that wars happen to other people, and I just didn't think that it would happen to me and to my city and my family and my friends and my classmates and, my country.
In these first months, Serbian nationalists occupy 40% of Bosnia, inching ever closer to the city of Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia. Quickly scrambling to recover after the Serbian invasion, the Bosnians and the Croats form an otherwise unlikely alliance in order to combat the Serbian threat. The Bosniaks and Croats successfully liberated southeastern Bosnia, though this territory had a Croat majority and was quickly taken under Croat rule. The territory was vital to the Bosniaks and served as their only passageway to the coast, where valuable supplies could enter. Though after many arguments with no progress made, the Croatian-Bosniak coalition quickly fell apart, signaling the start to the CROAT-BOSNIAK War. On October 18, 1992, the Bosnian War turned into a war on three fronts, sparking the deadliest period for the region. From 1992 to 1993, the Serbian military launched an ethnic cleansing campaign on Prijedor, a Serbian minority province in the center of Serbian-controlled territory. Between these years, a Bosniak and Croat population of 50,000 was reduced to a mere 6,000. During this period of cleansing, Serbian militia raided houses, stealing belongings and moving them to assembly points. These assembly points were where civilians were marched to labor camps. The largest in Omarska held over 8,000 Bosniaks and Croats. Torture, rape, and even murder of the prisoners was common. The prisoners of these camps were forced to live with very little food, which was often old and spoiled. This camp was also a grave for many. Over 3,000 people were buried in this camp alone. In February 1994, President Clinton speaks out against the Bosnian conflict and delivers this profound message of U.S. and NATO intervention into the region.
We can't do everything, but we must do what we can. There are times and places where our leadership can mean the difference between peace and war, and where we can defend our fundamental values as a people and serve our most basic strategic interests. My fellow Americans, in this new era, there are still times when America and America alone can and should make the difference for peace. The terrible war in Bosnia is such a case. If we're not there, NATO will not be there. The peace will collapse. The war will reignite. The slaughter of innocents will begin again. A conflict that already has claimed so many victims could spread like poison throughout the region, eat away at Europe's stability, and erode our partnership with our European allies.
Soon thereafter, a U.S. brokered deal ends the Bosniak-Croat War and creates a unitary militia to fight the Serbian nationalists. This deal drafted a political agreement to arrange the divide of the province of Herzegovina. This agreement would soon be the start to the Dayton Accords and the formations of the Balkan states as we know them. On August 28, 1995, Serb forces shelled a Sarajevo marketplace, killing 37 people. This was a direct act of harm against innocent civilians in Sarajevo. Author Zlata Flipovic was one of the many families that were impacted by this atrocity.
So I just left Sarajevo then. I was very worried because the Sarajevo marketplace is right next door to my grandmother, and I know that she used to go to that market, try and see if she could buy something. So obviously we were very worried, and there are people that we know who were at that market, who were wounded and who were killed. So it was horrific. It was just people trying to survive and trying to get some food that they could buy and, feed their families. But
after this horrific tragedy, NATO commander Admiral Leighton Smith recommended an offensive attack. Just 2 days after the shelling, NATO launched Operation Deliberate Force. This launched a 3-month campaign against Serbian advancements in Bosnia. A total of 400 NATO aircraft dropped 1,036 bombs, while military stations in and around the Balkan states launched 1,356 cruise missiles. NATO countries, along with a Russian military force, contributed to a total force of 66,000 troops to be deployed as a peacekeeping force in Bosnia. On November 21st, 1995, following NATO and UN attacks, Bosnian Muslim President Alija Izetbegovic, Croatian President Franjo Tudjman, and Serbian President Slobodan Milosevic agreed to the Dayton Peace Agreement in Paris. The treaty paved the way for the arrival of a 66,000-strong NATO Peacekeeping Implementation Force, or IFOR, in Bosnia. The international community establishes a permanent 3-president election in Bosnia, requiring 1 Serb president, 1 Bosniak, and 1 Croat president in order to ensure peace. These accords were the first sign of peace since the formation of the Balkan states.